They claimed that the British Crown was not upholding these rights, and since they believed it was the duty of the government to serve the people, they deemed it necessary to separate themselves from that government, and by doing this, secure the rights that were guaranteed to them simply by birth. They felt that the honorable thing to do was to establish a new government devoted to protecting those rights. But this could not happen without a fight, without taking up arms in violent resistance, without a revolution. And they knew it. No one forced these men into positions of leadership. They took on the roles themselves, knowingly putting everything on the line. They could have stepped back, hoping someone else would take the initiative. But they didn't. They were common men. They had wives, children, homes, occupations, everything we have today. They were men like John Hancock, a merchant and clerk, like Thomas Paine, a teacher and merchant marine, or like Samuel Adams, a tax collector and unsuccessful brewer. Though I understand his beer is now selling very well. We consider them heroes, but at the time, they were much like the people standing before me. And though they came from many diverse backgrounds, they all had one core thing in common: a love of freedom, a love for the ideals of democracy, the love of a country founded on freedom. It was this core love that compelled the Founding Fathers to serve the greater good, to fight selflessly to establish this country, to pursue their revolution, making one of the greatest sacrifices in American history. But what if we were attacked? Today, 13 years after Congress first adopted the Declaration of Independence, very few of us are asked to risk, much less sacrifice, as much as our Founding Fathers did. No army is going through our towns and cities, burning down buildings, breaking into homes, and stealing away our children and parents, threatening our loved ones. Not very many of us are asked to take monumental risks, to put on the line everything we hold dear for the sake of our country, for the sake of each other. It's hard to imagine the first sacrifices that the first Americans made for their country. What if, right now, we were suddenly attacked? What if a huge army stormed into our small, unsuspecting town and began taking women and children, killing men, and burning down our homes, schools, everything? By simply taking up arms against the British, by simply standing for what they believed was true, every American back then risked this happening. No, imminent attack and basic survival aren't something we worry about on a daily basis, and we're quite lucky. Many of us will go through life without even having to consider risking or making such a sacrifice. However, this doesn't mean that selflessness isn't important. This doesn't mean we can't still serve our country. Service. What is service? When we think of serving our country, what automatically comes to mind is military service. Throughout our country's short history, so many people have given their lives fighting for the values that we uphold in our Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence. Today, we have a group of Vietnam veterans among us who served our country several decades ago. And right now, there are men and women in the Middle East risking their lives as well. Our own Tristan Smith gave his life there to provide others a life free of tyranny. Those who join the military knowingly put everything on the line and prepare to give their all for what they believe in, for a good that is higher than themselves. There is no service, sacrifice, or selflessness greater than this. Others make the sacrifice on a regular basis as well, but do not always get the same recognition or gratitude. People like those in law enforcement and emergency services who strive to keep citizens safe from both crime and natural dangers. Some of these people are paid, but very many of them, especially in emergency services, are volunteers who take time out of their lives to help others, often at their own inconvenience. For example, when the fire siren goes off at 3 in the morning, are you annoyed by the fact that it woke you up? Or are you grateful for the fact that you get to go back to sleep while others are leaping out of bed to go and assist complete strangers? Of course, Not all sacrifices involve danger or demand spontaneity. There are a myriad volunteer organizations and charities, large and small, global to local, through which countless individuals give their time and energy. It can be easy to overlook the service provided by these organizations and people. In Bernathen alone, it is not hard to find people who volunteer for the sake of others, serving the community by sacrificing their time. We have those in local government who sit on borough council and serve on various civic committees. We have all the many members of our church and school boards, and those who volunteer their time and energy for the uses of those organizations. We see young people choosing service through clubs like Delta Mu and CARE, and through organizations like Scouts. Service, sacrifice, selflessness. What about you? There are so many ways in which you can stop your life, even if just for a single second, to do something higher than yourself. No one else might thank you for it or even recognize it. You might not even recognize it. But think about it. Picking up a piece of trash. Simple, right? But you've sacrificed a moment of your time and your own convenience. Now you have to carry it to the nearest trash can. You were selfless. You made the path look nicer. You provided a small service to your community. There are other ways in which you can do the same thing without even realizing it. You can open a door for someone, or help organize a community event, like 4th of July, without even taking credit. Or help a stranger get something off a high shelf in the supermarket, or make a meal for another family, or donate a pint of blood, or agree to do something, like a speech, when you have a good, personal reason not to, like you fear public speaking. Or help someone pick up something they have spilled, or say something nice to someone else, or even just give a stranger a friendly smile. These are all ways in which people can and do step outside of themselves, ways in which they demonstrate service, sacrifice, and selflessness. These three interlocked ideas brought us here today and can lead us to a better place if we choose that path. Choose to be each other's best example. Whether something big or small, something for the neighbor, for the community, or for our country, let us not pass up the opportunities that come to us each day to serve, to sacrifice, and to be selfless. Thank you.